The Difference of Day and Night, a 5E lesson for kindergarten, created by Tessa Schroffet. The focus of my day-night cycle 5E lesson was to introduce the relevance of the position of the Earth as it relates to day and night. The objective was to introduce the concept of patterns and cycles. The lesson integrated the content areas of science, art, and ELA. To introduce the lesson, I read Sun Up, Sun Down by Gail Gibbons. A discussion followed about the events that typically take place during the day and what occurs at night. Afterwards, I asked 3 students to demonstrate how the Earth rotates facing the Sun and where the Moon is relevant to the position of the Earth. The students then turned to their table mates to discuss what they observed during the day and what they observe at night. Students were then called on to share their discussions. A sample artifact was then presented depicting a day-night scene. The students helped to identify what types of scenes happen during the day and what can be observed at night. The students were instructed to use a template of half blue and half black construction paper to create a scene of daytime and nighttime. The students were told to use pieces of colored construction paper to create their artwork. The students then began to create their own artwork. I chose Sun Up, Sun Down by Gail Gibbons because the book is very colorful and the content is developmentally appropriate for kindergarten students. Gail Gibbons began her career working as a set designer. At the time, television programming was not in color. She had to learn how to depict contrasting colors to appear in a particular way on screen. She worked on one particular set where the children encouraged her to write children's books. She used knowledge from designing sets to illustrate children's books with bright, vibrant colors. The book, Sun Up, Sun Down, was introduced to engage the students in the lesson about the cycle of a day. The story explained how the Earth rotates to face the Sun during the day and the Moon at night. The students then identified events that occurred during the day and night. During the Explore portion of the lesson, one student holds a visual representation of the Sun, another holds a visual representation of the Moon. Each of these students stands stationary. Another student holds a visual representation of the Earth. That student stands in the middle between the Sun and the Moon. The student holding the representation of the Earth then begins to turn while staying in the same spot to represent the rotation of the Earth. The students were then asked to turn to talk to their table mates about what type of events they have observed during the day and those they have observed at night. The students were then asked to share some of their conversations. The document camera was used to display a sample picture. The students were asked to identify the events that occurred during the day and those that occurred at night.
You're going to cut. All right, you're going to use construction paper and you're going to cut out things that go in the day and night sky. Got it? All right, when I call your table, you can come up here to the front and get the colors of construction paper that you want. Yes, Phoenix. Okay, you yes, okay? Did everybody get one of these papers?
Yes.
Okay, Kaylin's still working on it, okay? So we're going to use our construction paper to make our pictures. Yes, Michaela. It's okay. You can take your glue stick, Michaela, and maybe get it to you. No, you're just going to use your construction paper. All right, say cut. Blue, label. And is this your sun right here? You make it just a little bit bigger. Can you make a sun that's bigger? Because
Once the students had completed their scenes, they labeled their pictures. As you can see, some students have depicted different phases of the moon. One student cut out windows to show the different views of the sky. Some students depicted bats and owls at night and colored birds during the day. The artwork was hung outside in the hallway once students had completed their pieces. Initially, I had planned this lesson to specifically incorporate science and art to meet class assignments. However, ELA was also integrated through the read aloud of Sun Up, Sun Down by Gail Gibbons. The students were able to make observational connections to the content that was presented and enjoyed the lesson. I believe that the content was delivered well, however, I made organizational mistakes. I had intended to provide labels which stated day and night, but I could not find my materials when setting up the lesson in class. I did not have the students label the daytime and nighttime, but some of the students did that on their own. I intentionally chose to have the students use construction paper to create their scenes because I wanted the colors to be bold, similar to the work of Gail Gibbons. Having the students cut out the objects for their artwork took a large chunk of instructional time. When teaching this lesson in the future, I would most likely have students use markers to create their